Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Indie Music Money podcast with your host, Rob Boss. That's me. This is my first podcast back in a while, but I just wanted to really just throw you some gems after gems after gems. So I brought on my good buddy, KeyzToTheGame, aka Kareem Guy, Keyz with a Z. He is awesome. And he told me all about his new fast method and how to, convert fans, or rather how to convert your traffic into fans. And yeah, just making an impact in, you know, people's lives. And yeah, I had fun doing this. It was a good way for me to get back in it. And I promise I will be posting more often. Um, yeah, thank you so much for um, tuning in, and I hope you enjoy our interview. Here we go. Hey man, I haven't done a podcast in a long time. So,
Or
um, but I feel like you were one of the first people I like interviewed way back when. So, and I always see stuff that you're posting, and I just like really want to amplify you as much as possible. And I want to tell people, what you've been up to over the past. It's probably been like close to a year since we've talked or like face to face talked.
yeah, word.
Yeah, so yeah, I just would love to, hear what's been going on with you and anything business wise, personal wise that you want to share and just kind of like what we were talking about before, kind of what like just what you've been up to and what you've seen so
Word.
far.
Yeah, so last we spoke, to be honest, I think I was still trying to figure out how I wanted to position myself in this business. Since then, I've actually niched down. I started off as a generalist. This is actually something I recommend that artists do too, because your music can't be for everybody. I was trying to be that thing for everybody when it comes to the music business. There's so many different aspects of it. You know that there's publishing, there's learning how to manage yourself on social media. There's being the artist, of course. There's just so many different hats, so many different roles, so many things that you have to be aware of. So in my case, I was too busy trying to be a generalist. I wanted to help artists with everything. And I realized that that was actually spreading me thin. So what I decided to do was take more of a specialist approach, right? So now, what I like to specialize in is helping artists develop a stronger fan base, preferably through leveraging social media, preferably is Instagram. So like that's really where my focus has gone over I think, I don't know, I probably declared that switch like 3, 4 months ago. And ever since then, it's just better. The focus has been better. The content has been better. The opportunities have been better. Everything has been better ever since I really like laser targeted onto like one specific thing that I want to help artists with and whatever. And that's not to say that I'm not good at everything. I mean, um, actually, I'm not. You can't. It's hard to be good at everything. But what I'm not good at, I do have people that I can refer others to that specialize in those things. But me personally, I like to focus on building a fan base. I've actually coined my own signature framework for that process of helping artists go from not having a fan base to going to having a fan base, but one that's prepped and ready to be monetized. And I call it the FAST method. It's an acronym. The F stands for find, the A stands for attract, the S stands for switch, the T stands for train. Um, and in that particular framework, one that I accidentally adopted on my own, just through doing it myself and suggesting that other people do several parts of it, it made me realize that I actually had something that not only wasn't aligned with what my new specialist goals were, but it was a very tidy way. Now it's something that I got my own signature stamp for. It's what I spoke about at the CD Baby conference, but I guess we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah. Wow. That is awesome. I would love to hear more about the fast method if you want to share.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah, I'll give you
yeah.
I'll give you the solid version. So like I said before, it was something that I was doing totally by accident. I started off as a recording artist on Instagram, and like most artists, I was very perturbed by the fact that no matter how how much, excuse me, I posted on social media, nobody showed love. Nobody showed love, nobody tagged, people barely commented. It was very, very upsetting. And it upset me so much to the point where I wanted to create a platform that that artists could get visibility on. So that was like before Keys to the Game. So, but through that, I was learning all these cool digital marketing tactics to build an audience on that page. And then once I added the once I added the educational aspect to it where I was posting tips, it really set it off. Right. So what ended up happening was I wanted the credit for it. At the time, like I wasn't the face of anything. I kind of was like it was like a faceless brand. And I wanted to be the face of it. So I made that switch. And when I did, I brought over all those same digital marketing tactics to find the right people on the platform. And before I knew it, my inbox was always full. I always had people that I was talking to in my inbox because I was dropping tips on a regular basis. I think I was doing it like every single day at this point. But like I was dropping tips all the time. So I was always having discussions in the DMs, always having discussions in the comments, like just discussions, discussions, discussions. I'm just always talking. And then I got to a point where something clicked and I was like, hey, like you're helping out all these people. What's something that you can offer to them or recommend to them? And when I did that, I got scared almost because it was like, oh, these people aren't going to they're not going to want this from me. Like, I think I was going through imposter syndrome. I think I like was just like, no, there's no way that if I offer something to these people, especially at a price, they'll actually take it. And I was wrong. I got over the fear. I made my first offer to the people that were my most engaged fans on the platform. And within 2 weeks, I made 7 grand on Instagram. And that gave me a crazy epiphany, which ultimately just led to the creation of this framework. Like I went through the process of where I had to find the people. I went through the process of where I attracted the people to my platform. I went through the process of switching these people and migrating them to an area at which I had more of an amplified voice versus trying to beat the algorithm on Instagram. And then I put these people in a position where I could train them, which is what the T is for in the fast method, where I could train these people to hear from me exclusively for often, and I can make as many offers as I wanted to them. And right now I do that on my mailing list, but for people who believe that it doesn't work, I'll tell you, I've had people on my mailing list for like 3 or 4 years now. I email practically every day, and people haven't gone anywhere in that 3 or 4 year period. So the fast method is just it's a very condensed and streamlined method for finding fans. It's very lean. I made all the mistakes already. And so now when I give it to artists, like I'm giving you the practically the best version of it that's going to save you a lot of time, energy, effort, and money, honestly.
Wow. Dude, that sounds awesome. And I
Yeah.
love how like successfully became the like face of it and how
Yeah.
really like that's your own thing, which I think is just great. And I mean, obviously it like um works. And is there a way people can like buy that now, or do you have any like open
So
orders?
right now, so because all of this is like super, super new, I mean, like I literally coined the term fast, I don't know, like a month or two before the CD Baby conference. Um, And leading up to that, I was working on something. I was working on a master class, and I did the conference, came back, started reading Russell Brunson's Expert Secrets, and I'm like, oh no, 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 no. I gotta redo everything that I was doing in the past 2 months before the conference. So I say all that to say right now, the only way you can learn more about it is if you message me directly. But even still, I'm working on a master class right now that is going to introduce people to this method. Like I wouldn't say I'm going to undergo a rebranding soon, but I am going to fastify everything, so to speak, pretty soon because it is my signature thing. Like I don't want to push anything else. I mean, like I have other things that I've, sold and offered to artists in the past, but there's nothing quite like this. This is the thing. So, for anybody who's listening to this right now, if you are intrigued by it, definitely follow me on Instagram, shoot me a message, let me know you listen to this, get on my mailing list and just stay in the loop because that's when you're gonna find out, or that's how you're gonna find out when I'm gonna be launching my masterclass again, which is pretty soon, pretty soon, probably less than a month and a half away from now.
Awesome. And when that's out too, I definitely want to shout that out and stop by and just hear what you've been working on.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely link you. If I have anything, I don't think I have anything tangible for it yet, but what I'll do is, I'll give you the link for a freebie. I got a cool freebie that I'll give people listening to this. And that freebie will put them in my network. That way, when it is time to make the official announcement, they can go ahead and sign up. And it's going to be free too, by the way. The masterclass is totally free to sign up once it's live.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, cool. So I'd love to talk more about the CD Baby conference and just
Hmm.
kind of like how that even came to work out and then like
Yeah.
what you learned and what you talked about.
Yeah, so the story is pretty interesting. It dates back to South by Southwest earlier this year in Texas. I was out at South by Southwest. I had well, I still have another business where there's a specific digital product that I sell. The digital product just so happens to be a wearable backpack that allows you to pretty much advertise whatever you want on it. And it lights up. It's pretty freaking dope. But I was at a performance at South by Southwest, and as I was getting ready to go and speak to one of the performing artists, I got stopped by somebody who was trying to take a picture of my backpack. I recognized his voice because I listen to the CD Baby DIY Musician podcast pretty often. So as soon as I turned around, I was like, Kevin? And then he was like, You know who I am? And I was like, Yeah, bro, I listen to you on the CD Baby podcast all the freaking time. You have a very distinctive voice. And then, we kind of just hit it off from there. Um, I guess he does business with the artist that I was there supporting at the time. So, not only did I tell him what I did, but she co-signed for it. And he was like, What? We definitely should connect. We exchanged Instagram accounts. He actually at that time he invited me to the conference. So, after we exchanged contact information, got back home, sent him a DM. But this is actually a part of the fast method. Like I make sure that anybody I meet, I stay in contact with. I do it in a very specific way that you'll only hear about on the masterclass. But but I stayed in contact with him and submitted some stuff to him, my press kit, something that I feel like everyone should have, and especially artists. I sent him my press kit of all the things that I've been up to and been working on. He loved it, passed it over to some people in the offices, and it was kind of curtains from there. I mean, they reached out, extended the official offer to speak. They had already seen that I was dropping hints of the fast method on my social media. Because like I said, like I've been super laser focused now at this point in the career. And that's what they wanted me to come and talk about. There was this fast method that this guy was always talking about. Well, like, let's hear about it. in detail at the conference. So that's how I landed that opportunity. It was an amazing experience. And like it's just one of those things where like you gotta go watch. I don't know if they like dropped the official recap for it yet on YouTube, but it's just one of those things where like you just gotta go and see it. I mean, if you want to know what it feels like to be around a lot of like-minded artists that want to achieve the same exact thing as you, go to the conference. Like everyone there's about business, and they want to learn how to be at the top of their game, and it's just awesome all around.
Wow, being in the right place at the right time really
Yeah.
paid off. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Meant
was.
to
Right,
be.
right place, right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, yeah, it's just crazy who you can meet when you're going to things, and it's
Yeah.
awesome to like learn how to like capitalize on that to make it
Yeah.
good for both people.
Well, networking is like super underrated and hella important. The reason why I was at South by Southwest because I'm passionate about just music in general, so I'm out there. But there was an artist, like I said before, like there was an artist that I was supporting that I hosted. Well, my co-host and I had on our show. I was doing a show, soon to return, but I was doing a show, The Huddle, where we give the latest news, tips in the industry, things of that nature. And we always give an artist spotlight. So she got the spotlight, and then I saw that she was going to South by Southwest and performing. So I was like, dope. I'm gonna come see you perform. You were on my show. Now I want to see you do the reason why we picked you to be on the show. So I was really just going there to support another artist. I was just going there to show love to somebody else. It just so happens that, there were some hotshot bigwigs in that building that I was in. And so, I was just going to show love, simple as that. And, in that same aspect, I just ended up networking, meeting some new people. And, that's very important. That's like a very important thing that everyone should learn to do. I classify myself as an introvert, but when it's time to be extroverted, I'm out there. I speak with no fear. I move with no fear because I believe my purpose and what I'm trying to do is greater than being scared. So, when you get out there and you network, you're meeting all these fantastic people. Don't let them forget you at all. Stay in contact with these people and don't just go asking them for things. Pro tip. Don't ever just go asking them for things. Just be there and just follow their journey, right? And contribute to it wherever you can. And, at some point it may not work out, but don't go with the expectation of it not working out. Just go with the expectation of being a genuine person. And if things work out, they do.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're being genuine and when you know kind of what your purpose is, like it makes it easy
Yeah.
to connect with people because it's not like you're trying to sell something that like you don't believe in. I feel like that's one
Facts.
part is when you're like, why am I saying like when you catch yourself and you're like, why am I doing what I'm doing? But like now,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, like yeah, you were there just to support and like this is what you get, like from that.
Word.
That's so cool. Sorry for my dog. He's
All good.
excited.
All good. All good.
Um, dang. Okay, I would love to know what you think like the biggest like mistake slash misstep that artists take. Like what is the thing that you see? Is it because I feel like you talking about your mailing list, I feel like that's the thing that I think artists don't do enough is they rely too much on the like
Social
social
media.
media when it's like, yo, they can block you, they can take that away in a second if they want
Mm-hmm.
to.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. And that's like the biggest premise of, or one of the biggest premises of my fast method. It's you are renting space on a platform that you don't, on land that you don't own. And at the end of the day, that stuff can be taken away from you. So you should be focusing on taking the people that the traffic, the people who are interested that you can gather on these platforms and then moving them, which is what the S is in the formula, switching them from one platform to the next, right? The one that you can really control and really own. And the statistics, if you go and you look up the statistics for email marketing, they're freaking they blow social media out of the water. So, I agree with you. I do believe that one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of artists are making is putting all their eggs on in one basket on these social media platforms and not really capitalizing off of the traffic, the free traffic that they're getting, right? Because you don't pay a dime to sign up for these platforms. You give them an email address, right? Which
Yeah.
is proof right there. If you really think about any service or platform or anything you sign up for online, what's one of the first things that they want you to do before they give you access? They want your email address.
Yeah.
so
Email,
so
phone
to
number. Like,
yeah. So to think that email is something archaic or dead, I had one guy actually, I think the comments might still be under my most recent post, but I had one guy who basically was like, yeah, like me personally, I get a bunch of emails from people, I get annoyed, I unsubscribe and I delete. So I would never do email marketing because I know how it makes me feel and what I do. So I'd never do that as an artist. I'd find some other way. I'm just like, bro, you can't you can't label what you feel and what your habits are and use that to define the 4 billion or however many people we have on this earth. I mean, the data is there that proves that email marketing is by far the number one method of communication preferred on all levels, right? So yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm in total agreement that something that artists really sleep on is taking taking people from these platforms and really using them as their, well, not as their own audience, but putting them in an area where, this is their audience and there's no distraction, there's no algorithm, there's no profanity blocking, there's no, what I mean, downtime. There's none of that. None of that exists in email marketing.
yeah. And I think that like people who, fear not doing it because they think it's going to be like spammy or whatever. I think there's a way to be genuine and like provide value so people can even like
Boom.
look forward to it. You know what I mean? They're like,
Boom.
oh, I really can't wait for
That's
that
it.
like, tip today, that thing that's actually going to help me. Because yeah,
That's
like
it.
if you email stuff no one wants to see, then of course it's going to feel that way.
Yeah. But they haven't come to that level of understanding yet because we're talking about people who haven't even figured out their brand yet. They don't even know who their target audience is or what, keyword value it is that they want to provide to people. So they've already jumped ahead in that train, right? Everyone just wants to put out music and blow up and just have a bunch of fans. So everyone's like literally skipping, steps one, two, and three in a 10-step process. And so, we're trying to make people undergo a paradigm shift at level, think that believe in their minds that they're at the level 10, but we've got to get them to understand like you skipped one, two, and three. You got to go back to one, two, and three and understand those. Primarily one. I'd say branding is one. You know what I'm saying? So you need to go back to square one and understand more of what undergo the development that needs to happen at square one so that what ends up happening is what I'm saying to you now makes sense, because it's not going to make sense if you just try to jump in hot. It's just not going to work like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when it's going to feel like, oh, you only want something from me. You don't want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try to help me out.
And they write off the method. They write it off right away. Like they may give it a try and then, end up finding out that people are unsubscribing. Nobody cares. Their open rates are trash, right? And then they just automatically write it off. I mean, that's what I did with Instagram. I'm not even gonna lie. In the beginning, before I actually understood how to work Instagram, I almost wrote it off. I'm like, this sucks. Like Instagram is trash. Like I just need to go out and do performances or something. And now that I say that out loud, I understand why people say those things to me. because they wrote off the platform. But I had one of my really good friends always he always says, and the moment he said this quote, like it stuck with me forever. It's never the result. The result's never wrong. It's always the approach. It's always the approach.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's a
Yeah.
way to make it a valuable tool for you, you know?
Yeah. And then I mean you can't say that it doesn't work because look at all the people that it is working for.
Yeah.
They're no different than you are. They've just figured it out, right? They just figured it out faster than you did.
Yeah.
That's all that is. That's literally all it is. And that's why you should never be jealous or look at someone else's journey and feel less of yours. It's not that they did anything that you're incapable of doing. They just figured out the secret faster than you did. So work a little harder and figure out the secret faster. That's it.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I think finding, like advice and help from people like you will help a lot more because,
That's what
like
I'm here for.
you've done all the stuff. So you're like, all right, hey, like here's what we need to be focused on, instead of trying to learn it on your own, which can be scary and just like stressful. And I'm sure people stop halfway through the journey.
Yeah, yeah, and quite honestly, that's something that I noticed with a lot of my teachings. Before the fast method was actually the fast method, I started to observe that people would take bits and pieces of the fast method, apply them, get results, but never apply the whole thing, right? They would never apply the entire strategy all the way through, right? I like to say that, the elements of the fast method are like organs, right, in your body. Of course, all your organs make you a whole, make you complete, and you have life, right? Well, in each organ is important in itself. It does a specific thing in itself, and it does an amazing thing in itself for you. But it works in connection. It shines the best when it can work with everything else, right? It's the same exact thing with my formula. So it's like I would give people, a lung, right? They come to me and they're like, all right, my lung's failing. I need a transplant, Keys. Give me a lung. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give you a whole new body. But if you just want to take a lung out of the box that the body was in, then okay, I know it sounds a little morbid, kind of, but it's like if you want to take a lung out of the box that the body was in, then you know what I mean, you can do that. Which they will, but then it's like they'll just go back to doing the same thing that damaged their lungs in the first place.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I gave you a whole body, dude. Why'd you only take the lung? Now you have a body that you took the lung out, but now the lung's gone. I gotta give you a new body. You gotta have to pay for that. Or
Yeah.
pay you gotta pay for
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
that.
wasteful.
Yeah, you just go back to your old habits and then
Yeah.
what?
So after like this fast method and after you get people who are actually like there with you, and I don't know, like people might say like a super fan or just like someone who's like an actual
Yeah.
fan of yours, when it comes to the point where like maybe the artist should start like selling something or trying to make money, what do you think is a good thing to start with? Because I feel like people get really hung
I
up on,
think
I don't know where to start.
I
And
think the easiest place to start, one, obviously have your brand figured out. You gotta have your brand figured out because it's the only way they're gonna be able to provide value to people on the mailing list. So once you figure out what that thing is and you get in the rhythm of providing people value on a consistent basis, get into affiliate marketing, right? Let's say like I got one guy who's a part of my private club who part of his brand is like his son. Like he like includes his son. He's a father. He's a loving father, a dedicated dad, and so he's always posting about his son. And I'm like, well, hey, like, why don't you just find like some like up and coming company who makes baby clothes? You know what I mean? And like see if you can get an affiliate code with them, right? And now, as you're writing about your son and stuff like that, maybe you could tell a story in an email about how like he threw up on all of his clothes. But, here comes XYZ company to save the day with their amazing baby product, right? That you can use to prevent that. And here's the affiliate code. There's 30 in stock. Sale ends in 48 hours. Boom.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I think affiliate marketing is a really, really cool place to start. If you don't have your own thing yet, use somebody else's thing. It's okay. Get
Yeah.
paid for it though.
Yeah. That's cool.
You
That's
see what
smart too. Yeah.
I'm saying?
And because like at the end of the day, like everyone knows someone who could probably use whatever this product is, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
you just have to be like, oh, my sister could use that for my nephew, like stuff like that, it's just
it's simple.
yeah.
It's
And
it's more simple than people think.
it's like outside the box to think about. Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's really love that. Wow, thank you just for like sharing so much. Is there anything else you want to like drop on us?
Nah, nah. I mean, I know we're coming to a close. So really all I want to say is, I'm gonna give you the link. Oh, the freebie. I should tell everyone what the freebie is, right?
Yeah.
So I'm giving out a free checklist to everybody right now who signs up to be a part of my mailing list. I know how it is releasing new music. It's hella stressful. It's a lot of organization. If you're doing it for the first time, you have no clue where to start. All right. So, that just adds on to the anxiety on top of needing to do everything else. So that's why I created this really, really neat checklist. Um, and the checklist is going to help you stay organized throughout the entire process. Make sure you download it. I highly recommend printing it out, keeping a few copies of it. And that way the process is less aggravating. And you get to enjoying the process more than being stressed out by all the many things that have to be done at that time.
I love that. Like checklists and stuff like that, I think are a huge key to this because it really helps just have like a framework, and people can still do
Yeah,
stuff that fits their brand, but it's like, hey, this is what we should be, at least at the start. That's like awesome. So thank you for sharing
of
that.
course.
Um,
I'll
yeah,
give
I
you, I'll share, make
will.
sure I share the link
Yeah, yeah,
so you
yeah,
can
for
have it.
sure. Yeah, and I'll like tag your profile and everything, and just thank you so much for your time.
Of course, of course. And if anyone wants to follow me online, you can follow me at Keys to the Game. That's Keys with a Z because the S was taken in the beginning, unfortunately. But it worked out. I'm on all major platforms right now. Instagram is the one where you'll catch me the most for sure. Feel free to DM me. I'm on Twitter occasionally when people repost me in whatever they call it on Twitter. I don't know. And then I'm on TikTok too. So the big guys. So yeah, Keys to the Game. Like I said, Keys with a Z. And Rob, this has been a pleasure again. I always love coming up here and talking about what I've got going on here and what you've been up to. Let's just keep doing our thing and
Yeah.
keep going to the top
Yeah.
because you know, we were talking about this before, but consistency is key. I think when you remain consistent, you don't lose, right? It might feel like it you do because there are a lot of losses in the process, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, like if I know I got like the blur on, but like if your progress is like, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down when you look at that over the span of a year with all the ups and downs you had, really what your trajectory looks like is this. Of course, at the time it feels like this, but when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's really like this. But the only way it's going to stay like that is if you remain consistent. You got to
Exactly.
stay consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
And for
like,
those who can't see it and they're listening, I'm literally pointing up and down when I say this and that, but the grand scheme of things is a linear growth upwards. I think about it, like some people aren't even going to be watching, they're going to be just listening to this.
Oh
I know,
man.
like you go like this, you go
Yeah.
like that, you go like what the fuck, bro?
Love it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.